Today, I want to share a story with you that unfolds over decades. It's a story of incredible cruelty, but also of fate and a kind of justice so perfect, it feels like it was written by a higher power. It's a tale that's going to challenge our whole idea of coincidence and really make us wonder about the forces that might be out there balancing the scales. And that idea, well, that's really the heart of this story we're diving into. It suggests that even when human justice completely fails, there's some kind of cosmic balance that will eventually be set right. Keep this quote in your mind as we go, because we're about to see just how profoundly it can play out. All right, so let's set the scene. We're going back to Baghdad, 1981. This is a time and place of immense political turmoil, where a single accusation, a single affiliation could literally mean the difference between life and death. So, picture this. It's 1981, and we're in Iraq. Saddam Hussein's grip on power is just absolute. But there were opposition groups like the Ansar Forces, a communist organization that dared to stand against the regime. Now, being a part of this group was incredibly dangerous, and for anyone who got caught, the consequences were severe. And it's in this incredibly tense climate that a young married couple, both members of the Ansar Forces, are captured. The wife, her name is Mayada, is just 22 years old, and she is 9 months pregnant. The stakes, as you can imagine, could not possibly be higher, not just for them, but for their unborn child. Now, the person who interrogated them, this wasn't just some low-level officer. No, it was Barzan al-Takriti himself, the head of Iraqi intelligence, a man known for his absolute ruthlessness. For him to be personally involved in their case, well, that was a truly terrifying development. And after a brutal interrogation where the couple admitted their affiliation, Barzan al-Takriti didn't waste any time. His judgment was swift, absolute, and there was no appeal. Death for them both. Okay, so this is where the story takes a turn that is it's horrifying, but at the same time, it's kind of miraculous. What happens next is almost impossible to wrap your head around. So Mayada is facing her own death, right? But her only thought is for her child. She makes this one last desperate plea directly to Barzan al-Takriti. Just delay the execution. Give her a few more days, maybe a week, just so her baby could be born and have some chance at life. His response? It was just the definition of pure cruelty. He actually sent a message back to her, and what he said was chilling. He said no. In fact, he ordered the opposite. He wanted the birth to happen during the execution. It was a verdict that condemned not just the mother, but her baby as well. So, Mayada is led to the gallows, and as the sentence is carried out, in those final traumatic moments of her life, something impossible happens. She gives birth, and amidst the absolute horror of an execution platform, a new sound is heard, the cry of a newborn baby. Just think about that. One life, literally born from death. A single living baby lying right there on the gallows floor, umbilical cord still attached as his mother's life ended just moments before, right above him. The story could have just ended right there, a complete tragedy upon a tragedy, but it didn't. This is where you see human compassion completely defy a cruel, inhumane order. So when Barzan al-Takriti heard about the baby, his orders were simple and brutal. Just leave him there on the platform to die. But two people, they just refused to obey. The prison doctor, who was there to confirm the deaths, insisted the baby be taken off the platform. And a female prison guard named Radia, she felt a pull she just couldn't ignore. Radia makes this incredible choice, a choice that absolutely could have cost her her own life. She takes the baby, she wraps him in his deceased mother's clothes, and she smuggles him out of the prison. She goes home to her husband, who's so moved by the story, and they agree to raise the boy. She even officially registers him as her own son, giving him a new name, Walid. So for the next 22 years, Walid just lives a quiet life. He grows up thinking Radia is his mother, with absolutely no idea about the incredible, insane story of his own birth. And then 2003 happens. The world shifts on its axis. Saddam Hussein's regime falls, and all these secrets from the past start to bubble to the surface. And this huge moment in history, it leads to this incredibly personal moment of revelation for a 22-year-old man who is about to find out his entire life is not what he thought it was. You see, the story of the gallows baby had become this sort of whispered legend over the years. And Mayada's brother, he'd heard these rumors all the way in Germany. So with the regime gone, he comes back to Iraq with one mission: find his nephew. And he does. He tracks down Radia, who confirms the entire story and introduces him to a 22-year-old Walid. Can you even imagine? One day you're living your life, and the next, your uncle who you never knew you had shows up and tells you this unbelievable story, and then he offers you a whole new future. A life in Germany, political asylum, everything. So what do you do? What does Walid do? Does he leave the only mom he's ever known? His answer was just so clear. He turned down the offer. His loyalty, his love for the woman who raised him, it was everything. He said, "I will not abandon the woman who raised me, who literally saved me from the gallows." And that decision, his choice to stay in Iraq, well, that's what sets the stage for the final, unbelievable act of this entire story. This is where everything comes full circle in a way you just can't make up. So Radia, who was still working in the prison system, she helps Walid get a job. He becomes a prison guard. But here's the crazy part. His specific duty? Escorting prisoners on death row to their execution at the very same gallows where his mother died and he was born. I mean, look at this. It's the most incredible reversal of roles you could ever imagine. In 1981, you have Barzan el-Takriti, the judge, the man with all the power, ordering an infant to die. Fast forward 26 years to 2007. Now that infant, Walid, is the guard. And the prisoner he's leading to that same gallows, it's Barzan el-Takriti himself. So yeah, after the regime fell, Barzan el-Takriti was captured, he was tried for crimes against humanity, and he was sentenced to death. And in this just unbelievable twist of fate, on the day of his execution, the guard assigned to walk him to the noose was Walid. The baby he left for dead on that platform was now the man carrying out his sentence. So we end right back where we started, with that quote. Call it fate, call it karma, call it divine intervention. Whatever you want to call it, this story of Walid is just this incredibly powerful reminder. It makes you think, no matter how powerful a judge on earth might be, maybe, just maybe, the judge of heaven always gets the final say.